Okay, so sorry for the slight delay in the part 2 Fenix Bt20 bike review, but things have just been a bit mad at the moment. As you see, I'm in my office. Normally I try and do these things at home, but yeah, what can you do? Things are a bit busy, so I've got to try and squeeze this in now. I've enjoyed using the Fenix Bt20. It's a nice solid light. It mounts well on the bars, but it does have its issues, and it's going to be a little bit harder to sound positive about this light, even though I do like it, because it's Fenix's first attempt at a bike light, and it's just not quite there yet. There's a few issues at the moment. In fact, Fenix have delayed release again because the fuel gauge is instantly going to red when you kick it into turbo. So hopefully they're going to fix that before it gets fully released. Also, I have a problem with the strobe, so I've told Fenix about that, and hopefully that they'll fix that. The strobe, I find, is a little bit distracting. Would probably be quite distracting for other road users. So that's a 750 lumen strobe, and I think that would get you punched by a taxi driver. Okay, and there we go. Kick it into turbo and it goes to red, but Fenix are working on that. Now, another issue I have with it is the pouch, the Velcro on the pouch isn't quite long enough for me to mount it onto the back of my helmet. And although for sticking on my bike that's absolutely fine, but when I use it on my helmet, I've found I've had to use the extension cable and stick it in the back of my pack, or I've got a chest pocket on my coat which I've been putting it in. But generally the mounting's solid on here, doesn't move. Another issue I have is it sits really quite high on the helmet, and it's always hitting branches and stuff like that when you're going off road, and it would be nice if it sat a bit lower, and that could be remedied quite easily by moving the mounting point to a 45-degree angle towards the rear, so it would sit forward and lower down, a little bit like what Knight Rider has done with their lights. And it's fine for using it on the bars. Obviously there's not an issue with low slung branches on the bars, but yeah, on your helmet it needs to sit lower. There is another issue with the beam pattern on the helmet, which I'll cover a little bit later. But generally speaking, it held solid on the helmet, which is a positive. But what I'd also like to see is a secondary, an option to buy this bracket as an optional extra with 3M tape on the bottom. So on my other helmet, I can just stick that down, because I've got an Urge Enduro helmet, and it doesn't have the possibility to run these through the vents. So it'd be nice just to stick it down and I can switch my lights easier. Now, my main bugbearer with this light, two things. One's the beam pattern on the helmet. It's fine for on the bars, it works quite well, but on the helmet it's quite disorientating. You get this this kind of black hole effect. Now I'll cut in a picture here, hopefully you can see it. Now here's a good example of what I'm on about. You can see how the light's been bent here by the Fresnel lens. We've got the main beam out the front, and we've got this extra bit of light towards the base of the wheel. But in between we have this shaded area where it's not as bright, and when you're wearing the light on your helmet and you've got it pointed down the trail, it's a hell of a lot more visible and it's in your point of view, and to be honest it's quite disorientating. And you get this weird batwing type effect, and on the helmet it's really disorientating. On the bars you don't notice it, and you actually get a really nice beam pattern, a little bit similar to what you get in your car, where the light is where you want it, it's in the middle of the road, it highlights the bushes quite well, and it's not too dazzling for other motorists. My other issue is the battery pack. Now, although it's well sealed, it works well, Fenix really should just offer batteries and charger included with protected cells, so customers know what they're getting. They don't need to mess about. They don't have the added confusion of if they want protected or unprotected cells. You do need to use protected cells. Okay, lithium ions have a working voltage from 4.2, which is when you take it off the charger, that's what they should come off at, 4.2 volts down to 3.7 volts. Now this light ran my cells down to 3.6 volts before I turned it off, and then tested my batteries. And that can actually shorten the life of your cells and that kind of thing, and also it can lead to other issues. But yeah, if you just use protected cells, you shouldn't need to worry about anything then, and it should just work perfectly. So that's that. Also, they rattle. I mean, they don't rattle that often, but when you get it on a really bumpy road, and on my road bike it is an issue, that gets quite annoying. So it would be nice if Fenix just had a sealed battery pack, all included, so you don't need to worry about taking your cells out, putting them in the charger. You can just plug your charger straight on the end here, and away you go. What else? Okay, so yeah, the strobe's annoying, the red light issue's annoying, so when you kick it into turbo you get this red light. Fenix are fixing that. Sorry, I'm just going through my notes. So yeah, final conclusion, the light has been pretty good over the past week or so. I've done plenty of off-road and road-based rides, and I can recommend to use it on the bars. It really works well. The beam pattern's quite nice, but when you use it on the helmet, I just wouldn't bother. If you're looking at it as a helmet light, just don't. The beam pattern's disorientating. It sits too high on the helmet, and unless you've got a highly vented helmet, it's kind of quite difficult to mount. And for the price point of, by the time you include batteries and charger, if you don't already have them, you're looking at about £110 to £120, and I think for that price point there are a few more options available to you. And even if you just go stretch your budget a bit more, if you know, go to around 150 quid, there's a hell of a lot more options for you. But bar mount it and you'll be very happy. Alright, so hopefully that's covered anything. Any questions, just ask me below, and if you feel like I've not covered something that you want me to cover, then let me know. I can always do another video. Alright, and there we go.